meeting of April 7th, 2026 at 7 p.m. for the New Haven Planning Commission. Everyone please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. We're going to seem to have maybe a humming going on. Maybe everyone should try putting their things up away from us. I don't know.
There's can you power it down? It's super red funny.
I don't know how to use that. I never touched it.
There's
Well, that might be why it's giving so much feedback.
with the power strip. Yeah, that looks different. Oh, well.
Well, we might just have to talk really loud today.
Chris Dilbert,
Here.
Ian Jones. Here. James Shepard.
Here.
Rob Pennell.
Present.
Genevieve Bronze. Here. Craig Sims.
Here.
And Rachel Wizard is present.
Number 2, public hearing. Our first public hearing is the administrative standards. Someone would like to make a motion to go into the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on administrative standards at 7:01.
Support.
I'm sorry, who did you support? Motion by Rodzik, supported by Dilbert. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes 7. Is there something you would anybody like to speak on this subject? Do you know what it's about? No one has any comments on it? Okay, then we'll attack it when we go into the agenda.
Yeah, in short, over last couple of projects, especially the AT&T project, it was discovered that New Haven zoning ordinance does not have any provisions in there to take really small projects and do it administratively. Where the planning, fire, building, and engineering all can review it without coming to a planning commission. Almost every other ordinance I work with does have one of these provisions in there. And that's why we brought this forward. We brought a sample, or we wrote up an ordinance to incorporate in your zoning ordinance that will allow such actions to happen by staff.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
I have one thing that I would like to see, or at least considered, be
Do
considered
you want
for
to do
this.
that under considerations, or is it? to the
Would it
public
be
hearing?
appropriate to talk about it now or later?
Probably when we discuss it as an agenda item.
To the point where I believe you need to get through the public hearing and close the public hearing before you bring this issue to the table.
Okay.
Anybody else from the public? Okay, hearing none, a motion please.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on administrative standards at 7:03.
Second.
Motion by Rodzik, seconded by, I'll never say your last name. Whistlet.
Set.
I'm sorry. Just go by Rachel.
You can just call Rachel.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Next item, 2B, Lennox Township Library rezone to GBD.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the Lennox Township Library rezone to general business at 7:04.
Second.
Motion by Rodzik, seconded by Sims. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Would anybody from the public like to speak on the public hearing for the Lennox Township Library rezoning? Petitioners can talk at the item as well, if you would rather.
We can, okay. Okay. Okay.
Good evening.
Beth Bogart. I'm the director of the Lennox Township Library, and just briefly, we are, that's rough.
Talk as loud as possible.
I know, I can do that. We are in the process of trying to expand our current library.
Is there a button on that? On your microphone?
All of them have buttons to push to talk. It says push, so I don't.
Can we turn it off?
Does anybody know how to turn this box off?
Unplug it.
Unplug it. I don't know, that like reset
Unplug it.
something that Brian's gonna hurt me about?
Is there a power strip down there?
Oh, there's a power strip.
Just a clean little.
Try now.
It's still on.
Okay. Well, there's no feedback, so that's good news. Again, we are working on expanding the current public library building because for the last 20 years, we have been woefully small, and while we do our level best to serve the community as a public library, having more space would definitely be a benefit not only to us, but to our community. What I wanted to talk about was the letters of support for our rezoning that we received. We've received over 20 of those, many of which came from high school students who absolutely could benefit from more quiet study space. So a lot of them talked about that. Then we also gathered signatures. We got over 90 signatures both online and at the library in support of our rezoning. We also have our neighbors, Cindy Harkness and her husband, here tonight showing us support for this rezoning. So I hope that everybody takes that into consideration. If anybody would like copies of these, I can send them to you. I did send them to Becky Hollis, so she also has access to those. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on the library?
Hello, my name is Beth Oakley. I'm a member of the library board. And just to kind of reiterate what Beth was talking about, I kind of like her to speak because they've been the ones that have been kind of in and out in the dredges for this long, working with that small space. And I just kind of, I think everybody here is passionate and knows that New Haven is growing and the things they're building in, and it just, they can't meet the needs of the community with the size that it is. And the rezoning is going to help us kind of move forward because we're kind of stuck in this limbos until we get that. We can't really plan on what we're doing and expanding and know the footprint that we can do until we have those things in order. And I'm not saying this to rush, but like it would help the community and help us move forward. And I just kind of appreciate your time and your efforts and your thoughts in that and helping us plan that to move forward. And I think aside for wanted to be here as well, but she couldn't attend. So I know that some of the neighbors are in support of that, and everybody that we talk to are really supportive of growing the library and what they can do, and having a space in a meeting room and just making it a really community space. And just thank you for appreciating that.
Would anybody else like to speak on the library? Okay, seeing none. Closed.
I'll make a motion to close Lennox Township Library, rezone to general business downtown, public hearing at 7:09.
Second.
Do it to me.
Did that first.
Motion by Rodzik, seconded by Whitsitt.
Close enough.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 7-0. Okay, we're on to number 3, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Whitsitt, seconded by Sims. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 7-0. 4, public comments on the agenda. Anybody like to speak on items that are on the agenda for tonight? Seeing none, we're going to move on. I got a lot of shaking heads out there. Approval of the minutes, number 5. A, regular meeting minutes of March 26, 2026.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from March 26, 2026 as presented.
Support?
Second.
Motion by Witsit, seconded by Rodzik. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 7-0. Number 6, communications and correspondence workshop. There is an upcoming Zoom citizens planner. I believe there's also one going on now for in person. But if anybody would like to go to that. Hearing something? Okay, I'm sorry. If anybody would like to attend that, please contact Rachel and make arrangements for that. Old business, number 7. First item is A, GB Business Standards. If you're a paper person, it's on 18. Mr. Klein? Sure. Okay. Look busy and thought.
This has been on the agenda for a number of months now. We were asked last summer to prepare some design standards for the GB General Business District zone, as well as a follow-up. Next item, GBD General Business Downtown District. So we provided design standards for both. What we understood was that the commission at that point didn't feel there was enough standards to see what you want. You wanted to see a nicer looking buildings, sites, things like that. And this current ordinance didn't have any specific design standards. So we added, strengthened your intent of what you have in there right now, which is important. We also added under principal permitted uses, we did add micro businesses. And at some point we offered a paper to you, and a micro business is defined as a business that generally goes up to about 5,000 square feet. Usually has a retail component, a small manufacturing component, and many are, are kind of the education we've been following is many downtowns are starting to adopt that in order to attract some businesses. Not every downtown or every business district can be this nice little place where you just have row after row of entertainment and umbrellas and seating and things. So they're trying to do it a different way. So that's why we added a micro business into the permitted uses. The next section in the ordinance is special land uses. That's all same, except this time we added our special land uses with small scale manufacturing. This is the same thing as a micro enterprise, except rather than being 5 or 10 employees in the 5,000 square feet, you go up to usually 20 to 25,000 square foot building, and you have more employees. So it's a little larger, and that's why it's a special land use. As you go down to the next section, accessory uses and structures, there's no changes there. Then we got down to what's 5.5.54 is development regulations, and we made quite a few changes there. We replaced much of the real general descriptions on what you need on site. We replaced it with more definitive items for pedestrian access, vehicle entry design, street trees, decorative lighting, and street furniture. We also had some on building design standards. If you go to the bold, if you scroll down, that's where you added some additional design standards. And that was it. Then we had the completed with the building design standards. Now, up to this point, as I mentioned, we provided this. We haven't any comments for or against it. If you want changes or go with them as is. So that's why we presented to you at this point. And I believe there's like 3 options in front of the commission at this point. One is to go through the adoption process, agree to what's written there, then you follow through the public hearing, recommendation to council, and get it adopted. The second option is you want to make some changes, let us know what the changes are, we'll go back to the drawing board and bring it back to you for review. And the third option is if you feel like you don't want to proceed with these, then just let us know, we'll take it off the agenda.
Any questions?
I just had one. I see a couple of spaces where it says CWA information paper for the business district. And I apologize if I missed it, but I don't know what that is.
Okay, I will have to get that to you. We sent one out on I had November or something, or December. We sent out information paper, giving just general notes on what enterprise is and what a small scale manufacturer.
Okay.
So it's more in description, like this, the size of business, the employees and things.
Okay.
I can get that back out to you if everybody likes.
Yeah. Like I said, I apologize if I missed it.
No, I
So many
number of
emails.
months ago, so I can get that out.
I had one question. What does adult entertainment uses include?
What section are you in?
515-52.
Special land uses.
Adult
Yeah,
entertainment, that's in the ordinance right now.
Okay. What does that include, though? Do you know?
You know, I don't know where and when, but at some point, that was
Well,
light industrial.
Well, that's why I'm looking for clarification,
Now it's
because
general business.
there was a point in time that we moved that out in the area of Roselle and 26.
Okay, it looks like.
And I was not able to pull it either. I did try to do this.
It looks like I'm reading the adult entertainment use section. Looks like there's 10 uses allowed underneath there. One is adult motion picture theater, one is adult motion picture arcade, adult bathhouse, adult bookstore, adult cabaret, adult motel, adult massage parlor, adult model studio, adult sexual encounter center, adult video store.
So I would
And
like
it goes up
that.
to-
So personally, I would like that removed from our downtown area.
Okay, that's in the general
That's-
business right now. We are in the downtown.
Yeah, so
Well, so
sorry,
actually-
general business. Only because we did do a designation for that. I don't know why it wasn't removed from here, maybe it was an oversight, but we did designate that years ago when we received the pawn shop. We moved all of that out into the 26 and Roselle area. But, so I don't know why it's showing up on this side too, except for that, an oversight.
I'm trying to see, I don't see anything in here of what when it was adopted.
Maybe under, if we looked up, are you right there, pawn shops? Because I do know that is why they're what
Yeah,
prompted
pawn
it.
shops aren't included in here.
Yeah, so,
Well, actually, it's a space requirement, no adult entertainment shall be located within 1,000 feet of any other adult entertainment, or 500 feet within a pawn shop, or other.
yeah, we did, I don't know why it's not represented in here or elsewhere. It was definitely relocated.
It's still on E-code, just
Is it on eco?
That's where that's pulled from.
Yeah, is it on eco this way?
Yeah.
Like the way it's presented, but
Yes.
you don't see anything over there where it was ever moved to Roselle area?
The paper he's working on.
Right.
So over the years, that's got
So I'm just saying,
translated
it never
into that
got,
system.
it never got put into the system, that's what I'm asking.
Limitations on locations for adult entertainment district has pawn shops. No adult entertainment use shall be located within 1,000 feet of any other adult for use within 500 feet of the following.
I believe we put it, I believe, it's a long time ago, believe we put it into heavy industrial.
It says acceptable zones, adult entertainment uses shall be located in general business zoning district only on E-code.
Yeah, then it must not have been, let me
If you
see
can
if
find
I
it, we can
can.
get it updated.
Yeah, John, yeah.
I've got another question for you, because my mind is going bad places, I guess, but what is a sexual adult encounter? What is an adult?
All right, we'll read through the definition. Any business, agency, or person who, for any form of consideration or gratuity, provides a place for 3 or more persons, not all members of the same family, may congregate, assemble, or associate for the purpose of engaging in specified sexual activities or exposing specified anatomical areas.
Oh, God. Do we have to have that in our ordinance?
Apparently there's a
In
reason
my,
for it.
in my history, you do.
Oh, God.
It sounds bad, it's difficult for me to read it, but it's.
Someone will find a loophole.
But someone, once in a while you get somebody, they got, look, you don't have anything in there, then it's almost carte blanche what they can do.
Okay, let's carte blanche it over to those others.
But we can,
If we gotta change something, if it's not.
Okay,
it's obviously
so
not what we-
I have an amended 260 ordinance dated April 28, 2010. Regulating the development and use of land has been adopted by the legislative body of the Village of New Haven. Ordinance amends section 200 and section 1814 of ordinance 260. Is that what we're looking at, is 260?
I'm looking at code dated February 22nd, 2023, under zoning general provisions.
So, and unfortunately, it says a complete copy of the full text of the ordinance is available at the Village Hall.
So according
So-
to my list of ordinances,
Yeah.
ordinance 260 is zoning ordinance amendment definitions.
Okay.
This is an amendment to original ordinance 260. Original document is missing.
Perfect.
Got
So
that.
that's like a time frame on where we're looking at, so.
So does yours say it was adopted? Is there any?
Yeah, it says it was
Or it was-
adopted. I can go look in the file after the meeting.
Yeah, and it does say adult uses pawn shops and similar activities. So, notice of zoning ordinance adoption, so yes. So, 260 zoning,
Yeah, I will pull that up.
April 28th, 2010.
Yeah, I have that date, and then all the other dates around it are in the 90s, so.
And I believe, my recollection is that it put those uses into heavy industrial.
Okay, I'll pull it.
I was on the board back then. That's the way that's why.
I guess we gotta straighten this out, right now it's under published ordinance.
Yeah.
We got it online, so that's gonna rule in the court's eyes.
Yes. Thank you.
So what probably happened is when they did this E-code and they moved everything, it just,
It's possible. I mean, we send them ordinances all the time to update everything. Every time we pass an ordinance, it goes to the update, so.
but this would have been before E-code existed, right?
I don't know how everything got into E-code, but I know we sent them a bunch of files, so.
That's pretty recent. We didn't have any kind of E-code back in 2010. It was just
So we didn't,
paper.
no.
I think it was just coming online when I started as treasurer forever ago.
Yeah. 14, 15, 16.
Maybe we should have a day where we read the E-codes. Something else missing in there. So how do do you want us to proceed?
Well, with
We
this,
do
with this
anything
adult
more?
entertainment, probably the procedure would probably go to send us a recommendation to council that you look at. And then they will remand it back to see if you want to move that to another district, or if you find paperwork where it's supposed to be, then council can verify it and send it back, and we'll just go through the process. Public hearing.
So in regards to this ordinance, we're just going to strike it from the ordinance,
Which,
the general business, allowing it in the general business.
what the
Because
adult.
right now it's under special land use under the
Well,
general
we
business.
don't know. I haven't
We don't
pulled
know.
the original paperwork. It's ambiguous right now.
So there's no sense in passing this and sending it to E-code, then if we have to change the other ordinance, or
If
the
you
other ordinance
change
gets
it, you write a
updated.
whole lot to get everything straight that you
Yeah.
want. Just because I added things, took some things out, doesn't mean we can't. So
Now
we'll
we
wait
need
to figure it
that.
out and come back.
Yeah.
So we can't strike it today.
No, we don't, no.
Okay.
Oh, actually, you can ask me to strike it, I'll put it in I'll put it in. I mean, but you can't adopt it today.
Okay. Well, I don't know how everybody else feels.
I would like clarification. I kind of agree it should not be there. Very descriptive.
You got that empty bank, you know, put something in there.
Not next to
So
a
I
pawn
think,
shop.
so is it the feeling
It's
of
too
the
close to
board?
a pawn shop.
So is it the feeling of the board that we want to send this back to figure out what's going on before we adopt it? Then postpone this?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I just want to know, is there anything else in there that strikes you?
That was the only thing.
That way I'll just concentrate on whatever you want, I can get everything cleaned up in one shot.
Now, if anybody else has more comments before, while Dave's working on this week or next week, please send them comments. Yes, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't see you back there.
Maybe this is unrelated, but a few years ago, we were trying to chase a similar problem with the water and sewer ordinance. So what happened is we found inconsistency of the way that the village was updating ordinance. Sometimes they were editing the original and then replacing it, and sometimes they would issue a brand new section of ordinance that referred to the original and supersedes it. So if you can't find that with a link to the original stays as is, and that sometimes creates a lot of confusion. And I'm just saying that we came across this a few times before. Chris, if you remember, we're doing the ordinance or tap fees, updates, and
Yeah.
we were so lost. It was like 300 different pages. This supersedes that, this supersedes that, no, this stays, that's gone. So normally when you update an ordinance, you just rewrite it, and re-adopt it, and it stays in the same spot.
So would we like to also, well, I guess we really can't send any kind of recommendation to council until we know what
So-
actually exists at this point.
I did find a copy of the ordinance, so I'll send it to yourself and to everybody else. I'll send it to you to start.
We're gonna have to look at the minutes, make sure
Yeah.
who did what, because yours is just a draft copy, I assume.
There's not some,
Because I recall it did pass, and then,
yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
well, I'm saying, because it also included pawn shops. But then the pawn shop went to ZBA, and ZBA allowed it to be in the district, in the general business district. So, I mean, it was passed. It caused it to go to ZBA, the request for the pawn shop. So it was someplace. You know, it worked, or it did, you know, I guess what it was supposed to do. I don't know if I like the fact that it went to ZBA, but that's where it went.
Follow the process.
So we have a motion to postpone this and let our planner and our clerk do some research. And obviously, Jen.
I sent it to just Rachel and Dave, and I just, so I don't have to go through everything.
I'll make a motion that we table this. This is the
Business device.
general business standards, design standards.
Yes, sir. 7A. So motion by Chris.
I'll second.
She's killing me. Motion by Dilbert, seconded by Wissett. Hey, that's better, right?
That was worse.
Oh. Okay, to postpone this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're on to 7B, the GBD design standards for the downtown.
Thank you. We followed much the same process, except the GBD standards that you have written done really well, so we only had some embellishments to make to that one. Again, we strengthened the intent a little bit. We talked about New Haven's identity through streetscape and design. We added micro business again, I'll get that paper to you, to the permitted uses. Again, we added small scale manufacturing to the special land uses. There was no change to the accessory uses, which is 51548. 51549, we did add some building material and design, pedestrian orientation we left alone. Building materials and design, we added increased transparency for any building front that fronts a public street or public park. So you didn't get a big block wall in there, so we have a minimum transparency of 50% on the ground floor. The next thing we added, again, we talk about building facades, that's item number 2 we added. We talk about entries, wall offsets and things, so we get some architectural fenestration, we get some movement, some shadows, break down the mass of a wall, so it become more pedestrian friendly. We also added an item for exterior walls for pedestrian orientation that mentions that any building fronting a right-of-way, public right-of-way has to have a door that people can enter and leave, so it's not just closed off along your public streets. If I look at that photo behind you, right now, as I look at the way we were trying to emulate that, in totality, no, but trying a modern equivalent, something that's workable. For site design and site landscape design, we added a section on pedestrian access for design, the use of streetscape furnishings, street trees, grades, special concrete. We also added landscape areas for any building that is adjacent to a public park.
8 feet wide, Dave?
Pardon me?
8 feet wide?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, it says sidewalks 8 feet wide.
It's what we took for the trails or downtowns, for a lot of downtowns, to put that in there. Would you suggest something thinner?
No, but there's nowhere else in the ordinance that calls for 8 foot wide.
We're trying to establish a downtown, that's why we're in the downtown area. I took these standards, I mean, people disagree, it's fine. I took these standards from different downtowns to make sure there's enough room. 8 feet allows people to walk this direction, and someone can actually stand in front of a store window and look in the window without getting run down by people. And hopefully at some point we get that many folks back downtown.
Well,
That's the reason for the 8 feet.
would also allow them to put something in front of their building as
Yeah,
far
we
as for
could.
sale and.
If we went as far as allowing them in a public, since the public right away, the council would have to get involved. If you wanted someone to put a table out there, or a couple chairs or something like that, they could do that, or a display table or something, and bring the inside of the building outside in nicer weather.
Yeah.
And it says a minimum, so it could be wider than that if it felt like. But these are design standards. If someone comes forward, it's something we can discuss with them.
Does this, and I don't see it, but does it adopt a consistent lighting feature or consistent benching or consistent anything that?
No, I didn't quite go that far. That's design standards we have to put in. We could put in if you have a theme that you want to do. I don't know if themes always work. Sometimes we get a place like Gaylord, Michigan or something where the entire town for ages has led that kind of Georgian Tudor type look that works. Other places, if someone's building sometimes you want some variation, but look at those buildings there, they're kind of similar, but there's variation between all those buildings.
Yeah, I thought of things like that, like first place I thought of was Frankenwood,
Yeah.
But, and I don't think we're gonna be in the Frankenwood. But I'm looking more to where that sidewalk has, not everybody puts a different light in front of it, you know what I mean? Kind of like what happens in Amherst or Decorah Park, you have a consistent lighting theme,
Good thought.
consistent, things match.
Yeah, what we did, we found out with our urban design studies over the years is when you do it kind of downtown, if you do everything the same, It looks too contrived, it doesn't look like we built up naturally. Looks like a Disney World or something like that. We also found out that people, we're trying to build a box and a framework everybody works within. If people seem to react better, if there's a variation in height, is when the variation goes in and out, the undulating causes a little, some people get spatially challenged at that point, and all of a sudden you have that, if someone gets stuck behind somebody else, then signage goes out, someone has to put a sign to advertise. So we try to build a framework. One thing you brought up, Leslie, one thing we did put in here, a lot of downtowns do, is we have setbacks in here. A lot of downtowns I work with, they have what's called a build-to line, which is, says if a building goes in, you're building on this line. There's no setting back or anything else to keep everything uniform. Design could change, but at least the uniformity along the sidewalks and those awnings to protect you from the sun or rain or something, that's all lined up along the sidewalk. And it's not in here, but it's a thought.
Which is what this was.
Buildings, they're all lined up.
All I know, yeah.
It was kind of practice like pre-World War II when they built towns. If you had built to lines, we had to build to something. Then when the 50s and car culture hit, everybody started with setbacks, as long as you're within an envelope that can float around the site. That's how you lose your connectivity.
I think that's important.
I can modify that, take a look, see what you guys think, I can bring it back and let you look at it.
I had one question different than our conversation. Small scale manufacturing. Do we put a limit on size on something like that? Like, so that someone doesn't come in and do small scale?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
I
and
got
take
it.
up like so much space that you lose
Yeah,
space
'cause
for.
That section I just read, the adult
Right.
entertainment thing, it's a section of all land uses, and in there they have criteria to qualify as something, like small scale manufacturing, we can pick out nothing bigger than a 20,000 square foot building or 25,000 square foot building. And we can put criteria, they can space it out, they can build out different spaces within that building to meet the ordinance. But we can come up with different criteria that you want, parking, delivery doors, things like that.
Wouldn't that even be pretty large? I mean, if you have, in the downtown, if you've got a 10 or a 20-foot frontage,
Yeah.
that would suck up a lot of frontage if, you know, or otherwise it's an incredibly deep building.
Yeah, so we have to look at, I was looking at the downtown. The downtown district and the zoning, which I'm doing right now, is actually a lot smaller than the downtown area that's shown on the master plan. So when I look at the master plan one, it starts going up Haven Ridge Road, and I gotta go back and take a look to see if it starts grabbing some of those bigger buildings, like Superb.
And that's further up there.
I don't know if it goes that far, but the downtown and the master plan's a lot bigger into the landmass.
Because like when you see new buildings in downtowns now, it's almost like a strip mall. Somebody buys a, you know,
Sure.
500 linear feet of it, and then they make it look different, and but you could subdivide that whole bottom
Yeah.
into one unit if we have that large square footage
You can always,
between.
we can set square footage in here.
Are we required to keep it there? Like, do we need to make a space for that? Is that the small scale manufacturing?
That's just, it's an idea, it's like, it's like I'm trying to.
Is it like a trending idea? Is it, it's bolded here, so I'm wondering
It's
where.
been circulating for about 8 years, 10 years, it came out of Smart Growth America, when I recognized a lot of downtowns are doing these vertical mixed use, you have apartments on top and businesses underneath, and they weren't finding the folks to come in. And I don't want to get into the financial aspect, how banks put out loans for commercial condos versus residential condos, but that's part of it. But they found that they needed to do, some downtowns needed to do something just a little bit different to get folks in here. And they were finding out that some of these small entrepreneurs, if they come in, smaller groups, they tend to congregate to each other, they talk to each other, they like the local restaurants, they like to do the local type thing. So this is just an idea to see if there's another way we can stimulate the downtown.
But couldn't that also stifle the downtown from having small business? If we ended up with somebody that wanted that whole bottom floor of a section for small manufacturing.
Well, if you limit it, I mean, you can limit it. Yeah, I mean, you could usually small manufacturing, the maximum 10,000 square foot if you want. And
well, let's see, 20-foot store frontage, and say it's 20 feet deep. Wouldn't that be, or even 40 feet deep? That's still, that's nowhere near in the thousands.
No, I think if you look at it, like a typical, back when CVS, and then go in, the typical CVS, or just to give you an idea, runs about 16,000 square feet. Some go about 12,000 square feet, but it's never less than 12,000. To give you an idea, this is a size example, to give you an idea.
So our downtown would only have so much space. That would kind of suck up getting those things we would like to see in small restaurants or whatever, even just an insurance agent. Because I think just even the strip mall athletics in the front, I mean, that size of those businesses is probably what we would like to see downtown here, you know, as far as, so you got individual businesses, enough different variety so people actually go there.
One of the components of both the micro enterprise and the small scale manufacturers, they have to have a retail component on the frontage. So whatever they do, like most of these folks, I see what at least the studies I've seen, they're into food products. Like you got a family who do salsa or something. I know Ferndale had an example in Woodward. You got a family had a small business. They did just a family run, I think they did salsa. Now they turned into Garden Fresh. And they end up going to a larger industrial place because they're serving Kroger's or serving the Myers. And it started as a small family operation about 30 years ago. Car Nuts was another one. And so it's always a small thing. They started as real small things. So the hope was if someone came here and started, if they needed to grow, we try to find something in New Haven to move them to at that point. We're finding textiles is another big market coming out. People do leathers, like special leather goods or scarves or any type of clothing or things they do seamstress type work, things like that. And that seems to be a pretty popular one. Detroit's got a burgeoning market for clothing right now. Those are like two of the bigger ones we do see with the 3D printing, some small customization of electronic goods, things like that.
Yeah, I like the concept, I just like to see it not have the opportunity to take up so much space.
So, I can rework that paper for you and send that paper back out. That's got all the descriptions in there. You can see what you like, and I suggest maybe if everybody can look at it. It's only a couple pages. That's everything bullet pointed. You can see what's in there.
I mean, it would be great if someone came to our downtown and your business grew, and then, you know, they could go into Gratiot or a general
Yeah.
business area that could put a bigger facility, but if we just let them take over the downtown, then, I don't know, it seems like we might lose what we're trying to create.
So Matt's trying to get your attention.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Med.
That's okay. Just before we leave the sidewalk, I haven't checked the setbacks, and this could be a minor issue, but I would suggest Dave, you add something like to provide minimum of 5 foot wide unobstructed pathway, regardless how wide it is. The sidewalk will end up being, because sometimes they will encroach, and now we're violating ADA standards.
And then you look at this, and then some places have trees in front of them. Do we allow them to put a tree if they want, or do we make that part of our,
You can make that part of your ordinance that with street trees in there.
but is it better not to have street trees?
I think street trees, long
That was in the
type
side
of
business,
tree,
that's
it's
what
also
I'm
the size of the tree. You don't want to block out the signage. You want the trees to go up. At the same time, trees provide a cooling microenvironment. So people are going to sit out there, want to stand there. And it's not even the heavy shade trees. Actually, it's the lighter trees with the dappled shade that provide the nicer environment for people to socialize in and want to stay.
So we should specify a tree that grows up above the sand,
We can
signage
look at
needs to
different
see it.
things. We can give a list of trees if you like. Then we have to work with council on that because it is a public right of way. So councils might have some, at least we have to talk with, Cermat, get some engineering standards or something in there that they have to follow.
Because the more we give them, the better off we are as far as where it ends up, right? I mean, so it's not ambiguous.
Yeah.
somebody else comes along and they say, oh, I want to do it this way, and then it starts looking,
Yeah, there's that fine balancing line between being too broad where anything goes, because then you end up with an argument. In a planning commission meeting, you're here for 3 or 4 hours arguing with the person what you want the design to be. The other issue is you don't want to be too prescriptive, because then the place looks contrived, so it's a balancing point in the middle that we have to try to achieve.
so we have some consistency but not cookie cutter.
Yeah, not review, yeah.
Because I mean, you're going to end up with cookie cutter. Like I'm picturing like where my son works. He works in the bottom floors are all, for smaller units, right? But the entire upstairs is all one apartment complex. So somebody owns the entire thing.
Yeah.
But then the business where my son works keeps trying to expand it to where they're taking over the whole very bottom level of the place, and it's all becoming one. They're squeezing out the other
Yeah.
3 or 4 businesses that are within that facility. Luckily, some of the people kind of bought that, but I don't know, this probably really needs to be addressed, because we're probably going to, if someone develops down in there, especially where the hotel was and such, that's probably going to be somebody doing the whole thing, all the way from, what is that, Pascal Street? What's that first street, Mr. Dilbert? Like if you go from the railroad tracks on the left, what's the first street you hit?
Pascal.
That's it. So someone would probably buy that entire section and put up an entire building, I would think. I don't know, I could be wrong, but
That's the hope.
And then I had another question too, moving on from the small scale manufacturing, is the utility structures. Are we required to leave that in there for that location?
Or,
Special land uses under general business downtown.
utility structures.
It was right under.
Yeah, I was planning, leave it where we got AT&T down there.
Are we doing that to accommodate what we already have? Is that, like, is there, by having it there, are we putting ourselves in a place where more can come?
More could come if you have it in special land use. Now, if you go to 5, you have to go to another section, 515.
I did, yeah.
159, it's got restrictions
Okay.
on what they can be. And we could always look at those restrictions then too, and see if those need to be.
Okay.
So Matt, where are you at?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben.
So I was about to make suggestions. I mean, there are 2 options with the trees. It used to be a requirement for shading and all that, et cetera. But now in some cities, they change that to these beds, so that they plant these trees so they're contained and aesthetically more pleasing. And they're not tall or thick, so you can still maintain the visual. And then DPW, of course, you guys don't think about this, but water main usually run under sidewalks, and trees are our enemy because it pushes the sidewalk every time and you end up with leaks. So we don't like trees, but aesthetically, it's up to the downtown, planning commission, and we will deal with it. So just a thought.
Well, in that specific area, is that an issue where the sidewalks, where the water runs?
The trees are issues. The sidewalk is not an issue.
Well, no, but I mean, is the water mains going down Main Street, like across where the hotel was, is that in that area of the sidewalk, or is that on the opposite side of the street, or is that an actual issue for that section?
So usually it runs like either one side or the other side of the sidewalk, and normally that's where you see the hydrant. It's on this side,
Okay.
on the inner side, because basically the right-of-way ends at the outer edge of the right-of-way, of the sidewalk. So that's where the public right-of-way ends. And you want your utilities inside the right-of-way. And sometimes you easement, 8-foot easement behind the sidewalk, and that's where you see the hydrants. It's easier maintained, but sometimes you can't get it easy.
So is that something we could pull and look at while we're making up the track? We don't make it more difficult, but we know what the infrastructure is underneath the areas that we're really looking at, so we plan it appropriately?
That's something to think about. I mean, this is not a fatal governing criteria that you have to do, but something to think about in the future. That, okay, if I put a 40-foot tall tree with a 100-foot of drop zone, that means all that is pushing on the utilities underneath. And the water main is only 5 feet below the surface. So eventually you'll get a break. No, there are corridor criteria that says, and I have not seen it in this community, but usually you have a set location for water, sanitary, storm, cable, phones, and everybody has to stay within a certain distance. And that's how you design your cross-section, where the curbs are, where the sidewalks are, and everybody knows where everything is. It's called a corridor, utility corridor requirements. We've seen that in Macomb, same thing in Lennox. I have not seen it here. That's basically tells you exactly where these utilities need to be. If you plant a tree, you need to be on the other side. Power poles, opposite direction. So something, if the Plan Commission is going to develop a downtown design standards, something to think about, and we can work with you for those details.
Mr. Dillon, maybe you remember, Jen, when they put in the water lines down Main Street, weren't they under the street?
No.
Yeah, were they on the side, like uptown they were up?
I think they were under all the sidewalks
The sidewalks.
on purpose.
On the, whatever side it is,
So you see that?
Where's that at?
That's right across from the library.
Oh, okay, so it's on the left-hand side of the water mains.
And usually the hydrant is about a foot or two from the main line.
Yeah.
The valves are running either on this side or this side. These are
very easement right there.
So maybe it's something we should figure out before the more we have figured out as far as what that, especially the right-of-way area is and where they can build line and those things are, that we have in place before someone comes to build something, one, less trouble, I think, but two, it would give them, oh yes, this is it, I'm not to screw with this, just build back,
Yeah.
and they're good to go. And it's not any kind of really discussion on our part about any of that, it's all set up ahead of time. And they would know that even before they built, because they would have those designed where they can do what, and what's got to go in front of the place before we, right?
I got a whole page of notes here, go back and take a look at it. I also want to pick some that's brain a little bit about the trees situation too. And I saw one downtown where they had the build-to line, but the build-to line was pushed back a number of feet just so they could put low landscaping in on the private property as opposed to being in the right-of-way where the utilities are. It almost had the same effect.
You know, when I go through places that I like, I snap pictures, as I'm driving through. And one of the things you did say about the taller trees, I did notice that, and I'm sure it's somewhere on my phone, but the trees were above the signage line.
Yeah.
And so all the signage was, because that was, like I said, I was in the sign business, so that used to be real pain for me. They put up a sign and then the tree grew, and then, you didn't see the damn thing, and everybody's pissed. But obviously, if those trees are up high and you have that line,
It's a balancing point.
yeah. But if all that's in place, then it's going to be, they don't have to question it either.
No. They know the
They know where to put their signs, they know where to. Did I see your hand go up there, Sue?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm trying to hide.
I just had one other thing in regard to downtown for, not, I don't believe it was mentioned here. If it is, I totally didn't see it, I apologize. Safety wise, like if we're gonna do the sidewalks and the businesses, like do we consider something, I don't know how you aesthetically like the bollards or something like a post for like safety of like people on the sidewalk, with that being like a driven, does that make sense? Is that,
Usually that becomes more, rather than zoning, I see it more of a public issue from working with the DPW, would think if it's in the right of way.
okay. So it's more of a problem? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'd say, I think maybe.
Like the
misunderstood.
posts, they're the safety bollards, the posts.
Yeah,
Like, if we're going to put our sidewalks right on the road, am I understanding that correct? We're putting our sidewalks right on the road?
we're not sure, that's not figured out.
And then if we, okay, so I was going on the premise that we're putting the sidewalks right on the road, and then your business is like 5-6 feet in, just with that being such a high-speed road now, I think, what is it, 40, 45, 40,
But if
35?
you change the character of the road, can't you change the speed limit too?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
You just gotta do it the right way.
yes, sorry. I'm sorry, that wasn't mine to say.
So sidewalks do not avoid the driving lane, if that's what you.
Oh, okay,
But what happened is you provide, if you see in this picture, you see how the sidewalk, there's a green space between the sidewalk and the road. The two lanes are 12 feet wide, so that's, eastbound, westbound. The green space is gonna be parallel parking. It's not gonna be a road. So
right,
that,
okay. I was visualizing something
Yeah.
differently,
That's,
so,
so Brett said,
Yeah.
one of the tricks that folks use to slow down traffic as well as protect people. You put on street parking in there. There's also the other one I saw, if you go along the curb line, I've seen another idea urban designers do, is they take like a couple of feet and just change the pavement pattern to give a visual cue that you're coming up to the curb. And then you have on-street parking, and it, besides slowing down traffic, it'll provide a safety.
so if you leave that picture, I was visualizing something like, so,
So
which
this is
clearly
the
I'm wrong,
driving
like, I'm looking at the sidewalk, thinking like, the business is going to be just right there, the way it was being described.
you can. That's what I mentioned about being zero setback. You can bring the businesses up front.
Yeah,
This is Rochester Hills, what they did is they have a parallel sidewalks, and then you have the on-site parking. But if you bring this building against the sidewalk, that's what,
right,
that 8 foot, and then like a zero setback downtown, and but you have to buffer for safety of the sidewalk.
I'm not positive the road, it might have been Harper, but it's something coming like north out of Rose Point. They've redone the whole strip of road. I think, I want to say it's Harper. But they also had so they had the buildings, the sidewalk like you're discussing, and then they had a bike route, which kind of buffered between the sidewalk and the cars for their off-street parking. And I mean, I don't know if that all fits in our area, but I mean, maybe that's another way to take in safety besides the, just the off-street parking. I don't know.
Got a lot of pages of notes here. I'll go back and work on this if you like.
No, I thought it was a great discussion by everybody though.
Oh, it was a good one. Yeah. That's actually what I was looking for, is a discussion like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody got any other suggestions or thoughts to? None? Okay, a motion to postpone would be in order?
I'll make a motion that we table this.
second,
Item.
second.
Motion by Dilbert, seconded by Rodzik. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Okay, old business. There's new business last month, and I apologize for not being here. C, data centers, and in talking to Dave, in order for us to address that subject, we have to address it here first and send it to him for approval. You gotta take it, you gotta ask council, correct?
Yeah, I think you go two ways. Either council can ask planning commission to study it for them, if they feel there's a need for it. Or else the planning commission can, usually please the council, something this council asks the commission to study something, but you could start studying it, look at draft ordinances you want as part of your monthly issue. I know Brian sent one out to you already, so I'm assuming that, just an assumption that council may be behind her. I mean,
And they also put the
Chris.
moratorium on it, so.
We put in place a moratorium.
Yeah.
So usually,
So-
you gotta start acting then.
Well, it was a one-year moratorium,
Yeah.
so, I
Yeah.
mean,
The one
Well,
year.
was it a
It will
moratorium?
expire.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it was in January.
Is it was it a moratorium to give the commission a chance to look?
It was a one-year moratorium on data centers, period.
Okay. Maybe we could, maybe a suggestion, clarification, that maybe,
So maybe we could do a motion here to start that process.
well, I don't even need a motion, this could be just a direction. We have the staff start assembling. I know Brian sent an ordinance out already, and I got another one I can send you, even though the commission itself can start looking at it.
I think getting in front of it with the moratorium in place, because it will expire in December, January. Gotta get in front of it to put something in place for when it expires.
Well, even you see stuff on the news about, even if there's a moratorium in place, they're fighting the moratoriums there.
Well,
So you need
I
to
talked
get
to
the
a
ordinance in as
construction-
quick as possible,
I
right?
talked to a construction manager, and he said they're getting around it by taking an existing building and turning that into a data center. Most moratoriums are for new builds of data centers.
Oh. So I guess that would be part of the ordinance, existing and new construction then? Would that together?
I guess it would be a direction someone given to me. I can kind of write the ordinances, you give me direction of what you would like.
Well, what would you guys like to see in an ordinance for a data center? Obviously, I think that's a great point that we should.
You could start by adding it to a special land use, right?
I'm so tired of talking about
It's I think most of my see all, any one of them are treated as special land uses. Just that whole,
But does it need to be like specified that any data center that wants to be put into a existing building needs to be considered special land use?
you could just put it, you could just put it in special land uses, whatever district you would like it to go. We can include the special land uses in there. Then we get to those general provisions, or all those land uses. Got specifications, then we get there. If you want to separate them or keep them the same, we can do that. But if you could separate them if you like them to, and oh, this is one extra line in the ordinance.
Well, I mean, until Jen last month, they weren't even a special land use in Lennox. They were just in various districts without a special land use. So I mean, I think we definitely need to address it.
And that can be done quickly, something like that, I would assume.
Anybody else got any thoughts? Maybe look at what Brian sent us and
Yeah, I think it's 21 pages.
start getting input into.
Yeah, and he said about 10 minutes before the meeting started, so.
Other communities have a 2-page one.
it. It is 21 pages.
Personally, I don't think there should be enough written lines in our ordinance for the data center.
I don't feel like we have big enough area that it could go to need 21 pages.
Well, that big property,
I mean, just going through this one,
That
they
ripping
have
house.
size classes, micro or edge, small, medium. So micro and edge are 1 to 5 acres, small is 5 to 25, and we've got 1 to 5 acres areas available. Or even smaller than that if they wanted to go around, try buying up whatever's around.
Okay, doesn't the township have a
Oh, yes. Yeah, a public hearing.
Yes, they have a,
I didn't think that was coming, but anyways.
no,
We all read your mind.
yes, that was exactly it. I believe it's on the 15th from 5 till
To the 15th?
the 15th, I believe, but double check. I'll send it out to everybody.
I think it was 6 to 9.
I think they made it earlier.
Is it?
5 till 8.
Correct. Earlier.
5 till 8?
5 to 8.
That's the one that's probably gonna be, that's gonna affect us more. Here in the village, you know, we're somewhat restricted on, land, or even using those 1 to 5, 5 to 10, whatever. Particularly where there is or isn't water and sewer. You know, we've looked at the Roselle area, there's no water, and it's a gravel road. And of course, you know, these companies are willing to spend a lot of money, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were willing to extend the water, you know, down Roselle. But surrounding the village, just outside our limits, there's much larger parcels that already have utilities available that aren't in the village, but they are right next to us. And I
Right across
think-
26 mile. There's a whole industrial park right across 26
Yeah.
mile.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, those are the areas that, you know, probably concern me more than, you know, right here in the village.
Yeah, I agree, but we gotta put something in place.
Yes, certainly, certainly.
So you don't think we need to make a motion to give you direction then?
Don't
This
know,
is just
the
enough
motion, I
us
need just
discussing?
direction, you want to continue to ask me just to gather ordinances and give you
Please.
examples, and then next meeting after, we can just start discussing what you like and don't like of the samples, then that'll help us kind of mold something.
Okay. Any other discussion on data centers? Okay, we're gonna move on to 7D, warehouses. And I brought this up because there's another thing I've seen on the news where warehouses are becoming detention centers. Currently, we only probably have one building that would be possible to happen in. But it doesn't mean they couldn't be built, I guess. But the controversy I see on the news is, you know, those aren't normally districts that you can stack people in, you know. But it sounds like they're finding ways to get around that, so we should probably have something in place that addresses that. Says, hey, no, you can't stack people in, you know, a warehouse. I mean, like that one community, they're gonna have more people in the detention center than live in the whole town. I mean, I think the town is 1,000 people, but the detention center will have 10,000 people in it.
Is that the one in Georgia I saw on the news?
There's the one, I think, downriver, and I think there's one in Georgia. and
Yeah.
I think I saw something about Arizona, where they're, you know, buying, the buildings were built for whatever purpose, like Amazon centers. And then the Amazon center pulled out, and then the building's sitting there, and they're gonna put something else in there. Now, I'd like to see an ordinance in place to do that. That just my moral part of me also says not to put people in. I wouldn't like to see it in my town. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that kind of would gross me out.
I understand, I get where you're coming from, I just don't know how much a village ordinance is gonna stop the federal government from doing what they want.
Well, it sounds like they're going
For a
around.
temporary.
They're not using it. They're using buildings that are already owned by private people. They're not like, so they don't fall under that federal you have to thing, right? Because they're just using it. They're renters. They're not
I'm not sure how the structure works, I don't know enough about them. The only one I know of here was someone who's trying to do something in Romulus, and it's the only one in Michigan that I heard of, so I'd have to research.
Last I heard that the feds pulled out on that purchase.
Did they? Can't be. Yeah, that was months ago.
But would it be a huge change to put something, I mean, I wouldn't think you'd be allowed to do that anyways. I mean, because those buildings aren't, what do you do, put porta potties for 10,000 in there? I mean, you really have to change. If it's already built, are they digging up the floors to put in?
They could. Yeah, they could saw cut and extend water, sewer.
So would it be hard to put some kind of placement that, no, these are not hotels or,
Because that's the only thing that we could address would be, the buildings shall not be used for, for housing humans. I mean, we'd have to be very specific, but even that, if it came to be,
How is something like that normally classified? Like a prison or a jail or, I mean,
This is over 40 years, I've never had been involved with the zoning for one before.
yeah, just
Um,
curious.
The only thing I can think of would be probably some type of, a lot of communities have what's called a public or a semi-public zoning district. And they kind of put, I know one place is a landfill in there, and so it becomes this catch-all for, it could be public parks, it could be almost anything like that. But I'd not to say someone you could, I'd have to do some looking to see how that do.
we may want to, ask the attorney, how would you word?
I was just thinking, it sounds like an Al
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest get the attorney involved with this. I don't know the federal restrictions or federal override or something like that.
I still wants to be caught with our pants down. Maybe it would get overturned, whatever we do, but at least we've attempted and not blown out the issue like, oh no, we can never come here. As most people never think crowds are gonna come to them, but then they come. Any discussion on this? Is there any objection to having him look into it? No. Everybody for that?
Is it for myself or you have the
For
attorney?
you,
look
yes,
at it?
because you want the direction from us, correct?
Correct, but I don't know if you wanted the attorney direction. to have the
Well, I think
attorney.
it's gonna have to involve, you're gonna need language, right?
Language, also some research into, is there any case law at this point that he's seen that it's like, okay, this is, at least if you know the case law, you would understand how something either got upheld or how something didn't get upheld, then we can try to, with our ordinance, we went that route, how to avoid that.
Yeah.
Could we do something down the line where we do something to like an existing ordinance for like those types of buildings or structures where they are not permitted to expand their use beyond what they've been approved for? So you've been approved to do tool and die, that's all you can do.
Well, what happens when the tool and die shop goes up in smoke? Would the new tenant have to come in if they're gonna manufacture magazines?
Right, but then they would only be approved for the manufacturing of magazines, and that's their intended use. And
Right, but that's what I'm saying, if we approve it for the tool and die, and they go away, then you're asking every applicant to come in here and tell us what
they would have to come in
anyway.
anyways, right?
Not if they're not
No.
changing the layout.
Oh, that's true, because they would still
If these
be,
administrative rules go through,
right.
get adopted, what would happen is they would come to the counter, okay, and they say, we want to do this, and we'd all sit down and look at it from a zoning standpoint, and part of it, if it's near the same, if they're manufacturing something, it's almost the same thing, same amount of employees, things like that, we could do it administratively. If not, we would send them back to the commission to do what's called a revised site plan, because something has changed that's pretty significant, that something could go from being just manufacturing with one truck a day to a use some stone warehousing uses, next thing you know, they got 15 or 20 semis a day pulling out. That would trigger a
Right. Well,
planning commission review.
to what Rachel said,
Yeah.
it would not be a change of use because it's still being used as light industrial.
Yeah.
Change of use would be housing of people. So if we made anything come here, if it's just a change, or not here, but here, like change of use, maybe something like that, so that if there was anything where they wanted to start using an existing facility, they
I
have to.
think that's already in your ordinance, if someone changes the use significant enough that they have to come in for a revised site plan.
But if
If
it
it
doesn't
was less
change
like
the layout of the property, but the use.
If it's still a change, it's still a revised site plan. I
Okay.
think the characteristics of the property is changing. In
Okay,
terms of, it could be truck traffic, it could be lighting, it could be noise, it could be anything. So that triggers back to the planning commission, because this is a whole different use. Their last site plan becomes null and void because they're not following the site plan. So they need to have a formally a revised site plan to come in front of the commission.
okay.
But to your point, we'd still need something in
Well, that might.
addressing people.
That might
in
catch it
those current
though,
ordinances.
because if you're changing the use and they have to. come
Well, are they
in-
gonna put on paper, we're gonna house humans here?
I think they would have to. I mean,
I don't know.
not to say they would, but I think that they have to. But it was just
You
an
can put in
idea.
the ordinance, you could classify as detention center or any other
Yeah,
incarceration or anything like that. I don't, we'd have to work with the attorney, come up with a language for that. But you could set it in place if it's not allowed.
And then we don't really have public zoning spaces that aren't already filled with public uses, right? I don't think there's anything on our map that,
No, nothing on your map. I mean, it's one of the reasons the libraries are considered a public use. That's what we're trying to find another district for them to go into. And the one district that comes to mind for what they need it for is that downtown district.
I mean, so in order to use one of those pieces of properties, either the village or the school district or Merritt, I don't know, is Merritt considered it's gotta be considered a public use, right? That's a charter school?
And for most of the places considered institutional use or public use, anything that's public related, post offices, this office here, this building here. I don't believe your ordinance has, I'm going through it right now, it does not have any type of like public, semi-public use. They just allow those uses to go in certain districts. Could be residential office, things like that.
So they'd have to come in and buy that property in order to drop something new into it and not have any kind of, per se, oversight over it, right? Because we don't zone schools or construction of the schools or,
I know you allow them in zoning districts, but you know, when it comes to zoning restrictions, no. It falls under the state.
any of these things are deep pockets. Like Mr. Dilbert said, they want water, they'll have water. You know, they're not our typical business, trying to build something, I don't want to say cheap, but it's inexpensive as they have to put out to put up their facility. Where Mr. Dilbert said those big pocket ones aren't going to care. They're just going to do it. They can slide something there. Okay, anybody else? And we're going to move on to new business, library conditional rezoning. Recommendation to council. We need to have
I'm
the
good with the
petitioner-
motion if unless,
Obviously, we wrote a review on this, you have the review. I did do took liberty of looking at this. New Haven doesn't have a local ordinance for potential rezoning. It is allowed underneath state law. And I did look at the state law, and I looked at some other ordinances, and it is possible to set a time limit on these where after like 1 year or 2 years, if it doesn't happen, the rezoning automatically reverts back to the previous zoning. And it's not in my, because I just found it postdates my review, but it is a possibility. And most communities have these go in, they usually have a year and a half, then they come back, and then the commission can always, or the council actually, at that point, they go in front of council council can always give them an extension. Or at least keep updated, make sure things don't languish for 4 or 5 years.
I think we put that same kind of provision in our subdivision ordinance so that we didn't end up with a whole Amherst, Pembroke abandoned. I'm pretty sure that's the way we worded it. Basically, they had a year to do it when we did the zoning ordinance to actually build something in these subdivisions. And then there was a pause period that they had to come back to. So let's say they don't build nothing for another year and they stop, and they had to come back to us to reactivate the project. So that,
I believe your site plan has a 1-year period that they have to restart the project in a year. But you can grant them an extension. This is a rezoning. This is more of a legislative action as opposed to administrative action through the commission. So
but
you
at
can
least
still
gives us some
see what.
control over whether conditions have changed.
See if there's any changes, see if they're still moving forward, if something's a year from now, and nothing's happening, they might have good reason that they got delayed with the construction issues, they got delayed because of the design issues or something, but at least it has a reporting requirement.
Yeah.
Because I think you did that as a special land use for, I think it's Mark Anthony, that you asked them to come back every year to report,
For the batch plan.
the batch plan.
Yeah.
So you have some precedent that you put this in place, so you're sending a recommendation tonight.
I mean, it's one thing to work with people, but then if they dump you, you know, for whatever goes on, at least we've got some recourse that we can act upon it. I mean, I don't think anybody wants somebody to have to stop,
No.
but we just, if they disappear on you, then at least you
Yeah,
know.
if the property, the other issues I've seen, if the property gets sold to somebody, maybe the whole financing falls apart. The property gets sold to somebody else comes in. They got these, at least they got the strict conditions, it can be a library and library only. Some places, if you continue, I don't see an issue with this one, but if you continue, some folks that zoning stays on the property, and I think it's wise if you at some point where it expires, and you don't want to pursue it anymore, then it would revert back, in this case, it'd be single family too, and someone would have to come over and start the whole conditional rezoning process over again.
I would like to add on that, like, just because prior to you being here, Dave, we had conversations about, with John, doing the entirety of Main Street as GBD. And that was part to, however it came to be, the party store across the street, next to the school admin building, I believe is GBD.
Yes.
And so I would say, for the sake of going forward, that we don't put a time limit on it, if that is still the intent, that we run all of downtown at some point in time when we get to that, or all of Main Street from here down as GBD.
But if we don't put a time limit on it, and in 3 years, whoever's sitting here comes up with some other brilliant idea and wants to change things, I don't know what. And if we've done it for other people, shouldn't we remain consistent in doing that? If we did it for subdivisions, we did it for Mark Anthony, do we pick and choose?
I kind of feel like this was something we discussed, and we're getting into like spot zoning by here and there. I think the intent with that party store, and I do believe there was some consideration also given to the library at the time in some conversation, that GBD would eventually be all of Main Street. So if that is still the intent, like the downtown concept for future land use or whatever, that we just leave it as GBD so that it's more cohesive with at least the party store across the street and what our future intent is. If that is still our future intent.
How does that work for a home? So if it's zoned general business and it's a line of homes here, and this guy at this home says, well, they want to put a
Actually,
Dick's here.
what is our future land use? Does anybody have it?
Probably have to zoning that future.
Because the future land use goes about, it goes in about 2 blocks shy of where the library is. I
Does
don't know
it?
the street names.
As GBD?
LGBT, yes, it's very close.
But it's not there.
What would be your question?
That was before we did parcel combinations too,
Right,
because I think those were homes right there.
right. Oh, that,
Or
yeah.
residential.
Who's gonna do that? You
So if they
said
were
it.
all in one, we probably would have extended the
I
GDP.
heard her over there.
So if you have a house, you have a house, you have a house, and this house here says, oh, somebody bought my property, they want to put a insurance agent's office in between these two residential homes. If it's zoned GBD, then it just becomes that, right? They can put
Yeah, they can
whatever.
put one,
They
they
can tear
follow
down
the
the house.
setback requirements, they can do that, yes, whatever is on, they follow the setback requirements for the uses that are allowed, things like that.
That seems awfully messy. I mean, there are homes that people put a ton into. I mean, Main Street has really had a lot of improvements over the.
Well, they wouldn't be over to GBD as long as they continue their existing usage.
So it looks like the future land use stops GBD at Elk.
To help,
But we are currently spot zoned GBD for the
Right.
hardware store.
Right, exactly. Because the intent was to go all the way up there and do all of Main Street
Yes.
in that conversation, so.
Now,
That's all, like, I mean, teach,
From a practical standpoint, is you have a home occupation ordinance, someone could go in one of those homes right now, and a lot of that zoning even going out is with residential office. Some of it, not all the way, there's a block and a half that's single family. So someone could go in those homes right now and open up a home-based business. The practicality is a lot of those lots, look at the size of those things. If someone's gonna go in there, they needed parking, it's gonna be real, unless you have just a small business, a small clientele. It's gonna be difficult to put parking, enough parking in there to think that someone's going to. They'd have to buy 3, 4, 5 lots in a row in order to get something of the magnitude where I think you're thinking of.
But if you, a home business would retain the residential feel of the house
Yes.
that's there. It wouldn't change it into.
Oh, I see what you're saying, the design of it.
Yeah. I mean, it would mesh with, I don't know if the neighbors would be happy about getting something like that next door to them if they just put $200,000 into restoring the house and then the next 3 lots turn into something else. But even a house might tick them off, but that at least retains the residential quality, so it kind of blends with whatever's there.
Now, you have the design standards going downtown. We've always said the design standards need to qualify by geography. Between this block and this block, everything has to retain the residential character.
Yeah, we're gonna maintain the residential character here and then not here.
Yeah, because we have to look at the map and see where it goes, what you want.
Yeah.
And
Because a good portion of that is all currently, just homes, but some of them would be very easy to tear down because they're in such bad shape. And then some of them, people put hundreds of thousands of dollars into them, restoring them and fixing them up. I don't know what that would do to
There are 14 lots along Main Street that are single family, that are not general business, TBD.
And are there homes currently?
I don't know, I'm looking at the future land use map.
Oh, okay.
And we stopped GBD at Elk, and there are 14 lots on both sides, 14 parcels.
that's
both
on the
sides.
future.
Yep. And 2 of them are library.
So characteristically, that corner, you got AT&T, you got the party store, you got the school admin building, you got the library. Looks more commercial.
Clark, it's not on Main Street.
What's that?
So the school admin building's on Clark, that's not Main Street.
Well, no, but I'm saying that clump of property all has a commercial effect to it. It's not looking like, they're not homes, that intersection, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yes, that's technically spot
Right,
zone,
right.
but everything in between the two areas that we're calling downtown is residential. And I don't know, it should retain.
when I drive through Richmond from, what is 32 Mile Road called?
Division.
Division, from Division to out by the Dairy Queen, you have single-family homes, you got businesses, you got
Yeah.
kind of mix of things going on, all the way out to, as you get near the McDonald's, there's that mixture of single-family and businesses. And I think, you know, using that as an example, you know, that's the possibility that could happen on Main Street, that mixture of, you know. Because right now, there's only one property up to Elk that is considered an eyesore, and that would be the Seifert House. And, you know, hopefully something's gonna happen with it. So, I mean, you know, having a general business district, it's probably not the most desirable, but it's something that I think we can work with.
So you don't think we should keep the houses as houses, you know,
That's
separating
not on
them?
the table right now.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, say again.
Rachel's trying to call us back to what we.
I'm trying to redirect focus back to where this is actually supposed to
Agenda
be.
item.
Back to
Rezoning the library parcel.
Right to the library.
But obviously, maybe it's something else we gotta address.
So,
at that
could you
now.
bring up that drawing that you had of the concept, yeah? Because I'm trying to, I see Clark Street, I see Main Street, and I see the parking. Could someone help me? I see a couple arrows there. Which way are we going? How do we get into that parking lot?
That's what we flagged in our email. We said,
Well, that's against the houses.
this is not gonna work. First of all, this 90-degree parking is not allowed on Clark. There's not enough room.
Right.
They can't.
It has encroaches on the, yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can. We have 33 foot of pavement width. 24 is taken by the two lane that leaves you with 9 feet.
So I assume we haven't had a pre-construction meeting yet.
No, it's premature right now. They can't even start design until they get the zoning out of the way. So that will be taking up a lot of these questions, and we'll have a pre-app meeting, but
Okay. Okay.
We had a couple of pre-apps before you came on board. So a couple of concepts, they came in and we explained all that to the architect. They retained an architect, library retained an architect to look at this, and they came up with a concept, and we told them what would be required, and all of a sudden we get this, which contradicts everything that we talked about.
we could, I think it was a miscommunication on my part. I asked them if they wanted to give an idea what they're doing. I asked them not to submit this as part of their application. And it was my direction not to submit it, because I don't think it's part of it, premature. And I didn't know if the commission, my thought was the commission just wanted to see graphic of what they were thinking about. So I wouldn't even, I would discount this and just wait till the architect comes in with some sketches. Right now, we simply want the zoning because of the setback. And they know what direction to go.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one of our comments. The concept plan should not be part of the zoning application, the rezoning application, because we don't want to send the wrong message that, okay, we looked at this and this looks okay. No, it doesn't. This is just a simple rezoning application to allow for a future expansion of the library.
Okay.
We don't have a site plan, and we're not looking at a site plan. This is just merely a rezoning.
That's it.
So that's where that time frame comes in, so if they can't make the site plan work on that property, and it gets abandoned, then it would revert.
That would be wise.
I mean, you got to, going through a lot of work, I hope they come up with whatever you got to come up with, but.
Okay, so the question on the table, if
Are we
I'm,
gonna rezone?
is
I'm
the
good.
rezoning.
Yeah, I'm good to make a motion if
Go ahead.
anybody else is. Right, yeah, no? You
Yeah.
want to have a conversation?
No, I'm good with- I wanted to include the
Okay.
reverting back if something happens.
Do we have parcel numbers on those? Those are- is it right?
That was on the application, I believe.
I'm pulling that.
I think Sherman's gonna come up with it on
Yeah,
the GSI.
0633, 102.
Hold on, 06,
33,
33,
102,
102,
001,
001,
and 002.
and 002.
And the date?
Is there,
It's,
refresh, there's 2 parcels?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Did we not combine those?
The combination is waiting for rezoning. That's what council said. They said that they would approve it conditional rezoning.
Oh, okay.
And there's only 2? I thought there were 3 lots.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Because you can't combine a lot that's single family and a lot that's general business.
Okay, this has a different parcel.
Okay, did we post these, all of them, all 3?
Oh, you mean the public hearing?
Yeah, I think,
Would you like combine?
Well, if it's pending, then we would have had to post this public hearing for all 3 parcels. It was not May 1, so I want to make sure that that was done.
So council would approve the combination first and then the rezoning after.
I thought it was just one, so I don't know. Did you do the posting, Richard?
I did do the posting.
yeah, so in January, they did submit the revised application, because that was missing. It is 102001, 102002,
So it's only 2 parcels?
2 parcels.
Okay.
Hold on.
And they are requesting conditional to give you exactly how it's spelled out on the application. January 23rd, 2026, application date.
Yes, both.
Both are posted? Okay. And right now, they're currently,
Yes.
So first one, the 001.
hold on,
They're both currently zoned as single family.
they're both single family, is that what you
The
have?
zoning map.
Is that what you have, Serman?
Wrong.
And they're both zoning.
That's up to.
Single family too? Okay. So do they both require then their own motion? Because they're not combined yet? Okay, I'll make a motion to rezone parcel 0633102001 from single family 2 to general business downtown, just noting, also known as, well, let's leave that. Maybe just a note, Lenox Township Library next to it.
Support.
Any discussion on the motion? Are you going to include that it has the 1 year?
I'm not.
No? I would like to amend it to include the 1 year, so it gets at least reviewed if something happens, or if not, then it reverts back to.
I do not.
So she doesn't want that part of your motion?
Okay,
Would you like?
can we do a roll call?
Sure can. Genevieve Rodzik?
Yes.
Chris Dover?
Yes.
Craig Sims?
Yep.
Rob Pennell?
No.
James Shepherd?
Yes.
Aileen Jones?
Yes.
And Rachel Witzik was a yes.
And then I'll make a motion for,
Sorry.
sorry.
Just a comment, that the application is requesting conditional GBD. So are you changing that?
You're changing the request from being conditional to.
Okay. So conditional based on
The project.
The-
through.
the project going through or
The
the?
actual term is, you're recommending approval of conditional rezoning from single-family to SF2, single-family residential district to GBD, general business, downtown. And then you can add whatever conditions you want after that would be the motion.
So am I withdrawing my motion and redoing it?
You probably just,
Amended it?
Amended.
yeah, you can amend it and reclassify, you withdraw and redo it to the way.
So,
But that says it nice and clear, because it's not, you're not placing conditions. You can put in that we're accepting, based on accepting the conditions from the library, and you read into the conditions they put in their letter, just read that into the record.
So maybe withdraw, restart, for Rachel's sake.
I'm confused.
So I'm actually
Do we
confused
have
myself.
to vote on withdrawing that though, since it's already been approved?
No, it hasn't been approved, it's going for a vote.
Everybody just voted?
And we already voted.
Oh, did everyone vote?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we did. So
So we would need a motion to rescind our,
or a motion to amend the motion?
I think you can once you've
I don't
approved it.
think it amended once it's off the floor.
Okay, I'll make a motion to rescind the motion just made.
And the second was by,
I'll second that.
no, but I mean, it has to be the same people, doesn't it?
No, not to
It's
rescind.
just rescinding a motion, it's a whole new motion.
I think the only person who can't rescind is you. So you did it. So I'll make a motion to rescind.
I'll second.
Although, well, I guess we do a roll call again, right?
Genevieve
I
Rodzik?
have a question, please.
sure.
What are we rescinding and why are we rescinding this?
Because it didn't say conditional in the motion, and they asked for
That's what they
conditional
applied.
rezone.
Conditional rezoning, Chris, that's how they apply it.
Yeah, it's a different action than standard rezoning. If you standard rezone, then any conditions they put in a letter doesn't apply. So it could be another party store could go in there or something. You just, whatever the downtown allows, you put it in there. We're clear that it's a conditional, motion is recommended conditional rezoning, then we read the conditions that they put on their letter. And that way it can only be what they said. The three conditions were, one, it can be only a public library. The second was they're gonna follow every site plan or special land use provision that they must, the processes. And I forget the third one was.
And do I have to read that into record?
I think it's better if you read that directly in the record.
Is that in our,
Is that somewhere you can pull up, Surmet, so she can just read it off of there?
Yes, I'm not seeing that.
Their letter?
Yeah, or a list of conditions.
Oh, that's, they,
Okay, see the bullets?
oh, here.
Okay, so I'm
The three
reading
bullets
those.
right there.
Land use will be restricted. Okay, thank you. Okay, so
Okay.
there's still a motion on the table
Yeah.
to rescind.
So we're gonna do a roll call on that. I'm really sorry, but my blood's low, so it won't shut up.
Do you want candy? Some candy? I have some nerds gummies.
If I bring it up, it would shut up. Thank you.
Okay, roll call on that.
Genevieve Roderick,
Yes.
Rachel Witsit is yes. Chris
Yes.
Gilbert, Craig Sims,
Yes.
Rob Pennell,
I can vote yes on the rescind, right? Yes.
James Shepherd, Amy Jones.
Yes. Okay, so I'll make a motion, parcel number 02 rezone, parcel number 0633102001 from single family 2 to general business downtown, conditional rezone based on the fact that the land use will be restricted to a public library and associated off-street with associated off-street parking. On-street parking adjacent to the property meeting engineering and zoning standards can be counted towards the required off-street parking count, and applicable special land use site plan review and variance standards and procedures will be followed and met.
Support.
Is that good, Dave? Okay.
May I have a roll call, please?
Nobody supported it.
Oh,
I
yes.
supported.
Chris
Chris
did.
did.
I
Oh,
thought
Chris did?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Sorry, I didn't say it.
Genevieve Roderick,
Yes.
Chris Gilbert,
Yes.
Craig Sims,
Yes.
Rob Pennell,
Yes.
James Shepherd,
Yes.
Amy Jones,
Yes.
and Rachel Witsit is a yes.
Okay, and then I will make a motion to rezone parcel 0633102002 from single family 2 to general business downtown, conditionally rezoned based on land use will be restricted to a public library and associated off-street parking. On-street parking adjacent to the property meeting engineering and zoning standards can be counted towards the required off-street parking count, and applicable special land use site plan review and variance standards and procedures will be followed and met.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Genevieve Roderick,
Yes.
Chris Gilbert,
Yes.
Amy Jones,
Yes.
Rob Pennell,
Yes.
James Shepherd,
Yes.
Rachel Witsit is a yes.
I vote yes too.
I said, I did not say your name, Craig Sims, sorry.
Okay.
There you
Next
go.
item,
Thank you.
8, new business.
It'll be on the council agenda next week for final approval.
8 is new business. B, administrative review, recommendation to council.
I'll try to get it towards the end.
I have one thing that I would like added to this, if everyone agrees. And I'm looking, sorry, I know what page that was in our packet. It is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, you're right, it's at the,
It's at the beginning.
page 3.
Yes, true.
I apologize.
No, it's all good. I would like to add that none of this takes place if the business is under a code enforcement violation. And you know where I'm going with this, like they're in the process of, they violated something, they're trying to bring their site into compliance, that all of this doesn't exist for that condition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that, and also, I've also seen, that dealing with water bills or taxes.
Okay,
I see
yeah,
that too, that way they come in front of me and explain why they're not
yeah,
paying it up.
I like that.
I don't know how I'm gonna word it yet, but I'll come up with wording for the
Okay.
council.
Might have a, go next, you met your part.
Sorry, yeah, question. So this is not related to new construction. Right, Dave?
No, new construction has to, this is, you see a lot of it's, accessory, the only new one would be accessory structures, so a shed or something like that.
Okay.
Or it'd be something like, that generator at AT&T plant.
Yeah.
That's the only new stuff. Everything else,
Here's my dilemma right here.
So you do or do not like that?
Are you gonna, when you just run it, so you're gonna look at something and say, okay, this is, got grading, filling, changing, you know, with, you said sidewalks also and pathways. So those need to be checked for slope and grading,
Yeah.
construction and all that. Are you gonna just take on all that
No,
without
no, it
sending
goes
it?
in, the process is it goes to you for engineering, if something like comes up, or it goes to me, goes to building. And what happens is, at that point, we've got to sign off on it. The building, actually, the building official is the one that signs off on it.
It goes to fire as well.
It goes to fire too, so everyone, as departments, we all sit around and we figure out how to do this, and then we look at the plans, just like, we just don't bring the plans to the commission, because it's usually a smaller thing or a very technical thing like a grading.
So there is a plan, that means,
You have to bring a plan, yeah. They just don't come in and fill out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
it just doesn't come to plan.
It doesn't become a plan.
So where is the cutoff? I mean, right now, are you saying, how big of a sidewalk that you're gonna allow administratively without coming to planning? Or
Any sidewalk,
any sidewalk?
yeah.
We have sidewalk standards.
Yeah.
We do. We do.
So if they meet all the standards and they come, if you don't meet the standards, you go to the ZBA.
How about a pathway? I think you're listing that over here.
Could I ask a question? If the standards are not clear, so like what we said earlier, like we have 2 places for, whatever. Obviously that's different, but if the standards are not clear or they contradict each other, can we put a provision in there that it would come here for clarity? Like if we have paralleling ordinances, like I think
You
we
know, you
run into
could
that a lot.
have in terms of conflict. I
Yeah.
have another ordinance I'm writing right now, it's in terms of conflict. You have to resolve that plan.
And this one also, right here, 20% increase in the parking lot. Normally, so hypothetically, let's say Rite Aid is increasing their parking lot 20% more. So their storm system has to sustain that. So it has to go through engineering review,
Correct?
but you don't want to send it back to planning.
Now, fine, if the planning commission wants to go back to planning, always go back, it's great.
I just need clarification.
No, and everything right now, if you see it in the list, if it goes in the list, it stays administrative, unless we get something like what you just mentioned, with code issues or things. We could put something in there that we could, the zoning administrator or building official in this respect, could remand it to the planning commission. Any item that they feel it's necessary. And we can put something in there for that.
Okay. I just don't want things to slip, and something get built, and not following proper standards.
Well, no, it's all you gotta follow, because it's gonna go right in the site plan section that say it qualifies as this, but it still has to follow. There's another section of the ordinance that said that you get to provide following items on the plan. North arrow, all that north arrow, towboats, things like that. So they gotta bring everything that's a part of a site plan, they still have to bring in to us, to this village. At that point, if it qualifies underneath any of these, it stays just with the internal administration to approve it.
Okay. Again, I'm not trying to be, it's just technicality. Any construction triggers by a building application or a development procedure leading to a building application. So for a remod, they go to building and they ask, okay, that's a perfect example for a little accessory building.
Yeah.
For a development, or a small change like the AT&T was a perfect example. Sometimes it gets sent back to planning commission and that triggers the whole process. So if I understand this correctly, for minor things, this gives you the authority to look at it and say, okay, this is really minor, it does not need to go to the planning, but it still has to comply with all regulations.
Yes.
So how do we trigger these regulations?
Put this in the site plan review section. And the site plan review section says you have all these standards you have to follow. It's just in the site, this is just the review itself. The review still, you have to have, it's in the, it's embedded in the ordinance.
Could I ask a question? Does it defeat the purpose of this to say that it gets cleared? I mean, I know it is to like hop on things right away, but it gets cleared by planning for administrative review? Like, where it comes here, and does that defeat the purpose?
Kind of, yeah. Because right now you're adding months to it, like that AT&T thing.
Right.
Most of my places could have been done in 1 month. It took 3 months for them to get through.
Here's where my problem comes in, is while I have never felt more, I don't know what my word,
Cozy.
trusty, satisfied, but, okay, election time's coming, and the village can change on a dime with an election, and you guys are all canned. Or vice versa, building officials, our fire chief, whatever.
Retirement,
I mean, we have very competent people in place today, but what if that changes and then that power or that step where, could we have taken AT&T, like Mr. Dilbert said it at that when it first came, basically, can we just send this back as an administrative review? Like, isn't that the way you put it? When it
Something to
first
that
came
effect.
to us the first day? And then we're done with it. We say, no, we don't want it. Let the administrative review handle that portion of it.
That's one way of doing it.
And then at least
Bring it
that
in the commission to
retains
see if it qualifies.
step.
As it qualifies.
But even in that end scenario, if we pass this as an ordinance, they can rescind an ordinance. Future
Yeah,
councils can.
but that does take more work.
So.
Or they have to even pay attention to it. I mean, like I'm saying, right now we have competent people.
Well, I guess what you could do is possibly leave this in place as it is, take it out, modify it, but you put a statement up front, the planning commission, any of the following projects that qualify, that fall underneath the description, can they qualify for administrative review based on planning commission direction or something like that, approval?
So it would come to one meeting.
Then it come to one meeting, then
Yeah.
you see, that's probably a little more tolerable rather than keeping people coming back.
Yeah, because the AT&T thing wasn't cool.
That makes sense, at least,
At least we're aware of it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Those pre-planning meetings,
Right.
nobody here ever knows about it except for maybe Robin and Genevieve, not anymore, I guess. So,
I can, at least I can preface it if you like.
That made me feel more fuzzy that there's at least some kind of,
at least make one step there, one stop there.
yeah,
And then we can say,
and then we can say, no, Dave and Servette, you keep it, you don't want to do it.
I mean, there's some where I think they could go right there on the list. When you look at the list, and there's others where I think, those are little, like 2,500 square feet for an expansion on a multifamily or non-residential building is kind of big.
Yeah, that is probably.
So that's a single, I mean, normally when we get a plot plan, we send it back to, and the planner checks it for setbacks and coverage and all that anyway. But it doesn't come for a site plan.
Right.
Well, this is a great idea, don't get me wrong, but.
Yeah.
And we'll eliminate that AT&T mess that we had. Because that's just maintenance work, and that by all means didn't need to come to plan. It's just, it needs to stay consistent with, every application.
so it's looking like we'd like to postpone this for you to refine it again, and next meeting we could hopefully be ready to send it to council. Is that kind of where we're, so you guys
Sounds
can
like it.
lock you two up in a room
yeah, I guess that would be my next question, have you guys talked?
This is the first time I've seen this.
Okay, so you have it. Okay. I strongly suggest you do.
It says city over here.
Because you're both covered under state law as to things that you gotta handle, correct? I mean,
What do you mean?
the things that you look at, the things that he looks at are basically separated. You're looking at engineering standards, right?
Correct. It's the village code, really.
I think we know where we want to go. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to table. With-
Support.
Motion by Genevieve Rotzek, seconded by Trish Gilbert. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, 7-0. One more motion. Oh, no, we have the plans report, sorry. I skipped the 12. Number 9? I'm trying.
Sorry. Letter report. This week, last Wednesday, we did have a meeting with the U-Haul business. Internal meeting to try to figure out what direction they want to go. We followed that the same afternoon with a concept plan for expansion of Amherst. And again, just the original, just the first bite at it. It wasn't anything more than just what we'd like to do.
Is this property still owned by the village, or is this contingent upon civil
No,
property?
you know, Lombardo bought it years ago.
Oh, they did?
When did they expect to be coming here?
These two, they just wanted to floor by us, and we
Just a
brought other
further
sites, and
compare.
we gave some ideas about Birmingham and the site size. They have some DNR stuff they have to take care of.
Well, are they still claiming or not claiming a wetland?
That's one of the issues, you have to look at the wetlands, where they're at, and flag.
The wetlands after it disappeared.
Oh,
And they seem to show.
They had tested and supposedly it wasn't.
Right, yeah, it's like for the trailer park lot.
It's gonna be like 10 houses.
No.
This house right
No, that's the core.
here. I drive by every day.
That's the core of that section.
Right, yeah, they sold it to the trailer park.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Right, I'm saying that same situation.
Yeah.
They claim they had something a private company won't say it's not.
I thought they said it was wetlands, that's why it was valueless.
I thought they wanted to sell it back to the village.
The
Oh, we own
wetland.
it.
No, the back, they wanted to sell it
Right,
back.
and that's what I thought, like, it's half of it's wetland right now.
So we wanted to turn it.
I mean, this time of year, it probably is wetland. You know, when it rains.
It's basically this area I was looking at. Double like that.
We never did approve a site plan on that.
No,
No, they came in and then expired before we gave them some feedback and they didn't come back.
I think they were focusing on Pembroke,
Yeah.
now that Pembroke is ongoing compared to Amherst.
Yeah, actually, the site plan was approved, Chris, because they did submit engineering.
It was not approved.
It was not approved.
It was definitely not approved.
The site plan?
Yeah.
Their first one from like 2 years ago, it was not approved.
Because it also included the houses on whatever that street is.
Yeah.
It was a big controversy.
It was not approved.
It was tabled and then they didn't come back.
What's the name of that street?
Because it's not just
They're
that
changing
section
it
that
to
they were
north.
including the section up inside of Amherst.
Right, where the,
Yeah,
back
Yeah,
behind the
'cause-
mailboxes.
and that would take a bylaw.
Yeah, they wanted,
Oh.
It's gonna be this whole separate HOA, it's not part of Amherst at all, it's a whole separate
Yeah.
subdivision. It's gonna have a street connecting to, I think it's Cranston, but it's a whole separate subdivision. It's not part of
I
Amherst,
thought it was two.
Yeah, totally separate.
totally separate.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be.
So they proposed the one where it was expanding Amherst, and then they proposed the second one where it
Yeah,
was a
that's
whole
what,
separate.
I know, that's what I'm thinking
Because the original one had Amherst West.
That's where it had all those other
of. And that would
houses.
take the bylaw modification.
Those are not proposed anymore.
But they were part of that
Yeah, that was.
association, that street would be part of that association.
Yeah, that would only do this work.
Yep.
This time. 40, 50,
I thought
It's a lot different,
57.
isn't it?
57?
I thought 57, the only difference is I think they had, sort of right next to the alley, they had like a green space right along the alley.
They do right there.
Yeah. But I think they extended that somehow, something.
Yeah, you were talking to about the grade of that and drainage and things.
Yep.
So those houses that back up to the alley will not be part of the alley, right? Those will,
Correct.
the alley will belong to the Amherst people, and it'll dead end in a fence or
Correct.
whatever.
Well, the alley belongs to us.
They will not have access to the alley, and that will be their backyard. So
Yeah.
that probably could put a burn or something.
Something to divide their alleyway from the neighbor's homes.
No, well, the alley is our alley.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's my backyard.
They're not gonna share it.
No, there's no access for them, because that's their backyards, because they would park in front.
Correct.
Wellston, I think that was the name of it.
My curiosity was, could they access your alley and put a garage facing the alley and enter their house, their garage, or that's
No.
what?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, goofy stuff happens.
They are copying Pembroke South,
Hmm?
so same layout.
With the garage in the front.
And they said they will push the house back. This way they get more than, they get that 25 feet.
So the car can get,
And that-
not block the sidewalk.
That,
Exactly. The same way that got done in Pembroke South.
And can we put design or approve the floor plans for this so that,
We can't do anything until they're here.
well, no, but I'm asking in advance. Because he's building the same house everywhere, whether it's Decorah, whether it's in Decorah North, whether it's at Amherst, or whether it's at Pembroke, whether it's at Pembroke South. It's the same cookie cutter house.
That's what sells.
Becoming so prevalent as the main homes that you can buy in the village of New Haven. It's not giving more variety of homes to pick from. It's just the same house in every single subdivision now, where other subdivisions are all designed with separate floor plans for them, so it made them unique.
I think you're gonna have a real hard argument to make them change floor plans that they're currently selling. People
Well, it's a
want-
different
people want
subdivision.
it.
I'm not sure, under engineering, there's none, but zoning, maybe.
maybe I think, look, usually single-family homes, boy, when people put them in, their state law doesn't allow you to touch them unless they're in a historic district.
It's coming in as a PUD amendment, right?
Yeah, it's a PUD.
Is that what it is? Coming in as?
No, I don't think so.
They're totally separate.
They're totally separate, they're coming as a site condominium on their own.
So that property's under a PUD.
I mean,
That property's already under a PUD.
The entire, or just through
Yeah,
these four?
it's all under it, no, all of it's under a PUD. The original Amherst was all a PUD. With phase 5 and phase 6, I believe are the right numbers, 5 in the back, 6 up front, and it's an existing PUD. So they would have to come in with a PUD amendment, not a new, because PUDs stay with the land, right?
no, they can amend the PUD. and take
But
that part
it
out.
stays with the land, right? So if it's sold, went back to the village, the PUD
No,
still
the PUD
exists.
Yeah, PUD zoning stays, they get to amend the
That's-
PUD agreement, and then I've seen that happen where they want to exclude a part.
Yeah, that would be a
Parcel.
PUD.
Yeah, the zoning map has it as a PUD.
It's all PUD, it's not a, and the back is as well.
Yeah, it's just something,
So,
they'll bridge that when they come in.
yeah, and I believe they know that.
So when it falls under
Trust
a
me, they know that.
They know,
I know that.
I believe they know that.
They know that.
they know.
there's nothing they don't know.
So, and that's where, as like, we, and just, I don't want to get too much into it, it's after 9 o'clock, but, like where they're calling it Northwick and separating it from Amherst and all that, I suppose they could put that in their PUD amendment, but, I mean, it is considered, like, the whole, I don't know, can you separate an entity that is under a PUD? You can amend it, but can you take away
create new bylaws and stuff.
If
Oh,
they have
wait.
their own, they
From-
would have to take the PUD. I guess how a PUD is structured.
Yeah.
Some are structured in phases of groupings where they
Yeah.
can have different HOAs or
And
different
that's,
things like
it
that.
was, it's
Yeah,
it,
it's possible to do that. I guess what they want to do, because it is possible that they can come in and ask to amend the PUD geography
Right.
and then do their own separate site condo. I don't know exactly how they want to proceed with that yet.
yeah, because they would have to, if they want to go through the way that they're doing it, they would have to come through and amend the PUD to not exist in that area.
Yes.
And then start anew. But as of right now, that's all under a PUD.
So if it's under a PUD, we have the ability to mandate the floor plan.
We have to read the PUD to see how it looks.
Because that's what happened in the back of Amherst was, and that's where the administration changed. And a president that was walking out the door issued, I don't know, 20, 30 building permits for a totally different house than was designed for Amherst as he walked out the door. And
That's how those got built back there in the back?
they're all issued on one day.
In the Amherst Village.
Yeah.
Whatever style that is.
Yeah, they just came right in and
But it was authorized by the administration as he
the
got
building,
recalled, then he gave it to him, and then he.
well, the building inspector just stamped them all. And
Parcel Explorer has that as a whole separate parcel.
Yeah, you have to find that PUD document and see what kind of conditions you have on it. It may be flexible and may be very strict, so you have to find that.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually, the PUD gives them more flexibility.
Originally, Amherst, every single floor plan went through planning commission. I'm trying to think of her name. Who's that lady on the corner of Main Street? Susan.
Susie Williams?
Yes, that's it. And they agreed to those floor plans. And then that's when things changed in funny business. And then all the houses changed. And then this last run, again, the houses are from every other subdivision except, the uniqueness of Amherst.
Rob, I'm not the historian. You keep asking me all these questions like I've been,
I hope so.
like I've been around here a while.
You knew it was Susie, Chris.
Yeah.
I had no clue where he was going with that. You're like, oh, Susie.
you had the answer.
Manny in Maine, yeah, she still lives there.
I didn't even know she's alive.
Yes, she's still alive. She still lives there.
Yeah, it's part of it. That's phase 6.
Yeah,
There's phase 5, which they're not doing.
yeah.
And then phase 6 is the southern part of this one.
Uh-huh.
It's like
So,
a house.
totally different.
There was some question about the PUD. Can't you remember a few years back?
I remember a question about the
What
PUD.
question?
I guess the
My
question
mind.
was, did we ever register it with the county?
That was what I'm remembering
Yeah.
as
That
well.
was one of the questions.
But I don't think that was that for Amherst or was that for?
I think that was
Pembroke?
Amherst.
I can't remember. It came up when we were talking about Pembroke because we were trying to figure out what ones were registered and what ones
Yeah.
weren't.
Okay.
Oh, that's the original plan there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was more development in the back too. Those front was supposed to be a part of Amherst and the back was supposed to be a part of the Amherst Village. So that was Amherst. And then if you scroll up,
And that's
And
where the
go more
separation
north.
of the pool came in.
Yep.
and there was a pool in the back as well. And back there, is that the back half? Yeah. So that was supposed to be Amherst Village, and those were all supposed to, actually furthermore to that, those were supposed to be upgraded houses as you went more north. So the back half was supposed to build up to be $500,000 homes and whatever, the equivalent of what that was at the time. So they were supposed to start and then evolve into a greater price point as you got further back.
15, 30. They all look the same.
Well, they followed the theme.
One of the 2 ranches in our subdivision, huh?
They all had to not have the same color next to each other. You could not have the same front, what was that called?
Elevation.
Elevation, thank you. You couldn't have the same elevation, and then you couldn't have the same model. Until
They didn't have these
they did. Anyways, 9:16.
Okay, public comments out there?
So many
None?
people.
Okay, call from the table? Hearing none?
Motion to adjourn at 9:15.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 7-0.
Yeah, I used to be enough this week.